He is a stud. Those are the words of Mike McCarthy talking about Keanu Neal. Now we got to figure out where the stud fits Mike Fisher in Frisco with the Dallas Cowboys as they're working their way through OTAs. On the one hand, in talking with Keanu Neal, he sounds like he's got this Dallas Cowboys role thing nailed down. Nailed, stud, get it? What are you doing in OTAs, Keanu? He says, typical linebacker stuff. Playing the hook, playing the curl, dropping in coverages, lining over the tight end, playing man on the tight end, playing man on the backs, things of that nature. And, Keanu, what's your specific position? And he answers, will and dime. I'm playing those positions. Makes sense. Kind of, until you start doing the math. Now, understand, first of all, that Neal knew what he was getting into by reuniting with his former head coach in Atlanta, Dan Quinn, who's now the Dallas defensive coordinator. He knew he wasn't going to be a safety here. They signed him for a specific reason. They signed him for this conversion. And he loves Dan Quinn. And players across this league, almost universally, in my exploration, do. He's awesome, Neal says of Quinn. It really brightens me up just thinking about how awesome Dan Quinn is as a person and a coach. So he knows what he's getting in Quinn, and the Cowboys know what they're getting in Neal. Quote from Mike McCarthy, he's a stud. He's a stud of a player. I think football comes extremely natural to him. He's making the full-time conversion into the linebacker room, looks very comfortable. Okay, so Keanu Neal as a linebacker, not a particular problem. But what about the will thing? And what about the dime thing? And what about the roll thing? I've been told that Leighton Vander Esch is on the top of the depth chart as the weak side linebacker. That's the will. Then in that Tuesday OTA that we got to watch at Ford Center inside the Star, Jalen Smith, in a variety of roles, seemed to almost never come off the field when it came to first-team defense work. And then there's Micah Parsons, and we're told they want him to be the middle linebacker. And we're not even counting Jabril Cox yet, Jabril the Steel, who I don't know what his present is, but he certainly has a future. So doesn't Keanu Neal's stated vision of his role clash just a little bit with the other visions? Now, Keanu says, I don't categorize myself. He is bulking up from his usual 217 to about 222 pounds, a little more linebacker size. He says, I feel I can play safety, linebacker, wherever they put me. I'm going to prepare to go out there and play my best. Growing up, I played linebacker, middle school and high school. Then we changed the defense. I switched to safety. I went to college as a safety, he says, but in my heart, I've been a linebacker for a while. And that's awesome. But Parsons, Vander Esch, and Smith aren't just linebackers in their hearts. They're actual, linebackers. Says Jalen of the changes. Mike is going to do some great things. Leighton is looking great. And Keanu, all the new guys coming in, it's an amazing linebacker room. And maybe that's the point, that the roles aren't nailed down. That between the incumbent guys who weren't good enough last year, and they weren't, with all due respect, friends of the show, Jalen, friend of the show, Leighton Vander Esch, friend of the show, they weren't good enough last year, including not being healthy enough, which is part of being good enough, as Jerry will tell you. Mr. Mack, the most important part of ability is availability. You got to show up. So you had guys that weren't good enough. You have newcomers who have yet to prove anything, although Keanu Neal is clearly a fine interview subject. So is Micah. I bet you will find that Jabril is as well. But the old guys haven't done enough, the new guys haven't done anything, and the jobs are up for grabs. That's how we should look at who's going to play linebacker, who's the will, who's the Mike, who gets the fewest snaps of the two carryover guys, who gets the fewest snaps of the big three, which to me does not include Keanu Neal at this moment. but might, because real competition means that jobs are up for grabs, and that component might actually allow Neal and the Dallas linebackers, however they line up, to fit the prediction from Jalen that it's going to be amazing. In Frisco, Fish out.